Welcome to this practitioners discussion session on the world's best safety media campaigns, where we're discussing safety promotion and awareness campaigns from around the world as acknowledged through the International Safety Media Awards program. My name is Barbara Minuzzo and I'm the coordinator of the International Safety Media Awards program, which is run by the Centre for Safe Alaskans. I'd also like to acknowledge the support of SafeCom PAC in providing technical assistance for today's discussion. Today with me, I'm privileged to have both Marc Baptista, who's the director of the Big Canvas, and Mohana Baptista, who is the e-learning director and also the health professional advisor in that organisation. To start off with, can you please tell us about your connection to the International Safety Media Awards program? Either Marc or Mohana.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just jump in there. Thank you for having us. First, we're very pleased to be associated with the ISMA. We are very keen on the health and safety aspect of learning. And when we were looking around for different alliances and or subject matter specialists, we ran into you, Barbara, and that was what started our journey together in this space. So that was our real connection, finding somebody who was equally passionate and who really was the lead of the field that you were in. And we felt there was a great opportunity there for us to go forward in this fashion.
Mm-hmm. Let's turn specifically to your decision to partner or being a sponsor for the International Safety Media Awards 2020 and 2021. Please tell us the why, what was the reason why you decided to become a sponsor or partner for these awards? What is the win-win for you?
Well, quite honestly, there are a few things in play here. One of them is that learning is the core of our business. It's what we do, and I think we're an extraordinarily gifted team that work together that deliver wonderful product. We really believe in what we're delivering to a general audience and also some targeted specific groups. That was who we are. And safety is another big aspect that is very close to us. The safety, the health, and areas that make a difference to a large group where we can say, well, we enter in there and we say, well, this is really going to make a difference to a large number of persons. And I guess the reason why we do this is expanding a reach, casting a broader net, reaching a larger audience. It is important for us to be able to present ourselves as champions in this cause. And when we do this, we present along with ISMA, the right kind of approach and attitude towards the safety and the learning aspect. They're completely compatible. We think that's two very solid reasons for that.
Yes. Okay, all right. And what about in terms of the work as media producers and as an e-learning specialist? What are some practical media production tips that you could give us? The must-dos for creating effective media campaigns, when we're creating videos, when we're creating effective visual communication, design and infographics. What have you seen that works well for safety media campaigns that aim to achieve the behavior change that we want?
So I'll let Mo answer the aspects that are focused on the learning and the didactic approach to learning. I can tell you a little bit about the production stuff, but Mo, why don't you tell us a little bit about the e-learning aspect?
I think what's really important when you're thinking about a safety campaign and looking particularly in the health promotion space, where you're looking to change behaviors for large groups of people and populations, it's really important to think about who your audience is and adapt what you're doing to that audience. I think that is very, very critical. It really, and we spoke briefly about understanding of community and populations. And I really think that when you're designing anything that is going to change behavior for that population, getting in there and understanding the practices and then working your learning around that is really, that would be my, I guess the best tip. And then, so think about also the technology you're going to use. If you're going to use it, how are people actually going to be applying that, and will it work? So you may design something that is, let's say you're thinking about getting to very remote populations, perhaps using something that requires technology that they do not have access to will not be meaningful. So I think those are just some of the things to think about when designing safety campaigns around learning.
And I can jump in about the production tips. This is pretty straightforward. We have to make, and this is very critical, programs that are engaging and involve the viewer and the person who's learning. The moment you make it or talk down to them and make it a little bit more of a grind, there you find you lose their interest. So we definitely believe in knowledge snacking, small, bite-sized pieces of information that is provided in a timely fashion, that is really very easily accessible and available to them as they need it. So as a production tip, we usually have a very warm tone, friendly, engaging, personable. It's all of that, that makes the end user say, oh, wow, I'm really comfortable with this. I don't really want to just skip through stuff. This is valuable information that I can really use, and that it makes me a different, more equipped, engaged individual. Really, it's pretty straightforward. We base a lot of what we do on storytelling, and it's all on the foundation of really good content. Of course, there's design and a good team that comes together, packaging it in a wonderful fashion, and that's the skill of doing this for many years. And in fact, we sit around and do a powwow and say, oh my gosh, that's so boring. Let's really rip this up and go back and do something that makes it more interesting. And it's good to test some of this with a few of your peers, especially those who are vocal and willing to push back and criticize some of the work that you've done, that you do, and say, well, really, this can be much better, much more engaging. And it doesn't mean sophisticated, elaborate 8K cameras and things like that. If the storytelling is engaging, that's really the fundamental issue. And not talk down to individuals. Yeah.
Of course, yes. Yes. So what do you think are some of the common challenges or pitfalls or successes for teams when they're developing and implementing safety promotion campaigns?
Am I going to speak something here? Well, most of the projects that we develop are scenario-based, role-playing situations that we describe, and it allows the viewer to position themselves as a participant, so they engaged and see how, when they're doing something in a right fashion, or they're doing something that really makes a difference to the group, they can see that difference, as opposed to something, and when we show something that doesn't work well, it's very evident that that's not the right way to do it. So it's really based on a very measured presentation that shows how the package that they're absorbing is going to make a difference, and they can reflect a little bit about what they've been working with.
Maybe I can just add something to that, because if we're talking about challenges and pitfalls for success, project planning is really important when you're designing any kind of campaign. Having a clear brief thought around what the objective is of that project, having an idea of who your team is, how you're going to engage with that team, who your audience is, articulating that, getting agreement, engaging with key stakeholders, and then actually having a production plan to roll it out and then to promote it. So I think those would really be, if I think about anything that really challenges most, everyone's got great ideas, but what does it take to get an idea out into the market? And I think it's really having very solid planning and execution of that campaign. I think that's really important.
Yes, yes. And do you have any further thoughts on the sort of production quality? For example, what do you say to the comment, it does not have to be big city and agency polished? Production quality should be intentional to enhance the intention of the message. So what do you say to that?
Well, really, you have to speak to your audience. If you take them out, if it's out of context, they're not going to relate to it. So generally, a situation that we describe or we visualize and we show usually is very carefully measured. We look at the situation that the person is in, the visual treatment that we have. We have tried to have a very big gender distribution, racial profiles that are quite broad, and we would like the programs to address as many persons as possible. Production quality comes from just being careful. If it's video, then the subject is well lit. There's a really good audio necessity, which is sometimes overlooked. It's actually very critical. And I think the content has to be written in general layperson's tones. You cannot have very bombastic and or very complex language being used for somebody, because you have to, and it's not the lowest common denominator, but you have to reach the broadest audience as possible without them feeling intimidated. Production quality comes from being sensitive to their needs.
So I guess what you've said often, Marc, is that you get great outcomes. It doesn't matter the quality of the camera that you're using. It is more how you set it up, understanding how to use it. So you don't need to you don't need to have the big fancy broadcast camera to capture great footage. You just need to understand how it's actually being set up and how it's being used. And maybe just think about the content as well. If I can, because that's what we've often discussed. So absolutely, I think we very much agree with that statement, that it does not have to be big city, but it does have to have an understanding of how it's going to be used.
What about in terms of the production quality and creative changes over the years in terms of the visuals and the video graphics and creatives? What changes have you seen?
What definitely has happened is the audience is more visually attuned. They leans definitely towards seeing visual interpolations of whatever messages you need to deliver. Persons are not reading as much. We are very lightweight text on the screen. It's better to have a person speak out what they need to be and not repeat what's on the screen, but in context, it's more important that the person visually absorbs the knowledge that you're trying to deliver than trying to have it text heavy. So that's one of the biggest aspects that I can think of. Over time, yes, the cameras have got better. It has improved. You can deliver incredible material even on simple phones, smartphones and things like that. The reason we use bigger bits of equipment is to have more control over them, but you can do amazing things with lighting, stage that you set up and the atmosphere you create. And a person who's really concerned about the message they're delivering, you don't have just a talking head telling you what needs to be done, but you have somebody who's a specialist in the area who really is passionate about, and that comes across, who's passionate about what they want to say. And they can sense it. Persons can hear the difference. Production quality is about being very careful about what you're presenting visually, really, and what you say. And yeah, thinking about yourself as an end user all the time, wearing that hat, saying, is this appealing? Is it attractive? Is it interesting? Is it not boring? Those are critical things.
And do you think also, I guess the other changes that the tools that you have to edit and have been brought much into the hands of end users, so that it's simpler to do, simple, like editing a video or editing some graphics or photos. All of that is on your phone now. So I guess that's really one of the big changes, that it's all becoming much more accessible to the end user.
Yes, yes. So to finish off with, would you like to share some further key tips for practitioners that are undertaking safety media campaigns? Any further key tips? You've covered a lot of ground in the discussion, and we're very appreciative of that. Any last and further key tips that for practitioners that are undertaking safety media campaigns?
No, why don't you?
Maybe I'll just say a couple of things, Marc. You can finish off, but I would just say, be bold, tell your stories, talk to your audience. I think that's really the message, and it's people want to really hear hear other people's experiences. So that really helps in terms of changing behaviors. So that would be my tip.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I always look at a program as something like a piece of work. Would I be interested in doing it myself? Is it going to bore me, or am I absolutely, wow, this is wonderful. I really felt I learned something. It's once you do that to yourself, you say, yes, I'm proud of it. And you have to be. It's not just another box you tick. And then there's another aspect that you have hopefully made a difference. You've hopefully improved somebody's responses and got them a little bit more knowledge and more equipped to deal with so much that they have to every day. Anyhow.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Marc and Mohana both, and the whole Big Canvas team. Thank you for joining us today and speak to us so we could hear more from you. And thank you so much for supporting our work so that we could, and being one of our partners, one of our sponsors in this journey of the International Safety Media Awards. So we could in turn then support the different programs around the world. And we really appreciate your ongoing support and being present for us and supporting us where you can. And we so very much appreciate that. It makes so much of a difference to us having organisations like yours to support us in our work.
Thank you, Marsha. And also thank you for all the good work that you do and the effort you put into making all of this happen. And we're very proud, the Big Canvas and all of us, the whole team, very proud to be part of this journey along with you, and that we can see that there is such a great opportunity through what you're doing to improve people's lives, and of course the whole safety aspect for the International Safety Media Awards. I think it's a wonderful program. You should be very proud. We all of us are, and we're very glad to be part of it.
Yes, yes. Before we finish off, just as a reminder that due to the coronavirus pandemic, the Safety 2020 conference has been postponed until November 2022, with the virtual global event to take place in the meantime on the 22nd to the 26th of March 2021. The winners of the 2020 International Safety Media Awards will be announced at this March 2021 global event, so stay tuned for information around this time. And also, thanks again for joining us for this discussion about some of the world's best safety media as recognised by the International Safety Media Awards program. Thank you also to the Centre for Safe Alaskans for founding and sponsoring the International Safety Media Awards since 2006. And to all our global safety colleagues around the world, as always, we wish you success in improving safety outcomes for your community. Thank you.